What's up YouTube, Dal here from Zephyr Wargames, and today I'm going to bring you a video all about the normal summon options that you have for a Dark World deck. Now we're not just talking about, okay, this card can be normal summoned, it's more so what normal summon monsters can you use and get the most benefit and advantage from in a Dark World deck, whether it be with or without dangers. So I've been having a very good conversation back and forth with Team Flapsky about different normal summons and what they can add to the deck and how much space they end up taking up. So I'm going to take you through about 6 different options that you have. One of them technically isn't a normal summon, but it basically takes away the ability of a normal summon for that turn, so it shares the same effects. With all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe. If you want to see any lists involving any of the normal summon engines that I have not already covered, then please let me know which ones in this video you would like to see, and by smashing that like button and getting it above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, we'll unlock a new version for you. So, let's start off with 2 of the most common normal summons that a lot of people, if they played Dark Worlds in the past, were used to, and what can be used right now that came in the structure decks. So we'll start off with Trance Archfiend. Now Trance Archfiend is a level 4 Dark Fiend monster, and the reason it has synergy with the Dark World deck is it discards a card as effect rather than as cost, and by doing so not only will you be able to beef it up by about 400 attack points, but you will also be able to trigger a single Dark World effect by being discarded. Now why is this not being heavily used? Well, quite simply, it's been power crept. It still serves the same weaknesses as all of the others on this list, that a simple form of hand trap, whether it be Imperm, Veiler, and not in this case, but in some of the other cases an Ash Blossom, it will just stop the card dead. Where this one has benefits over some of the others is because it is a level 4 and it is naturally dark, alongside being a Fiend as well, is it has some synergy with Dark World at the gate, it also has synergy with Allure of Darkness, and as a level 4 can help you extend into your rank 4 options. Another one that is close to this as well is called Fabled Raven. Now Fabled Raven is actually a very spicy introduction, and what I mean by that is the fact that it's a tuner could actually unlock synchro plays for you if you wanted to take Dark Worlds into a little bit of a different direction. On top of that as well, you can manipulate its level, meaning that you can get it to a level 2 should you want to manipulate for rank 4 plays. Now the way Fabled Raven works is, again, it allows you to discard cards as part of effect. But unlike Trance Archfiend, which only lets you discard 1 card, the Fabled Raven lets you discard multiple cards in one go and increase its level by however many you discard, as well as giving it a little bit of attack. So for example, if I had 2 Dangers in Dark Worlds in my hand and I wanted to discard them to gain their effects, Fabled Raven would allow me to do that and boost its attack stats alongside its level. The difference with Fabled Raven is it is a light monster, so it doesn't have the synergy with Allure of Darkness that the Trance Archfiend has, and of course it is not naturally a level 2. So when you look at Trance Archfiend and you look at Fabled Raven together, the reason that they're not more heavily used is the fact that they don't really do anything on their own. And what I mean by that is the Archfiend and Raven both need a card in hand to be discarded in order to get you to that next level. So not only does it eat away at your hand advantage, but it does want you or require you to have other Dark Worlds in order to be able to maintain or regain that advantage in some form or another. I still feel that Fabled Raven could be a very spicy introduction because it can unlock different levels of synchros. Because if you think about it, a Greffa plus that gets you a level 10 synchro in Baron de Fleur. That plus a level 4 can give you a level 6 synchro. You could even manipulate its level to get you up to level 4, and it can unlock synchros 4s, 7s, 7s, 8s as well. Even 9s if you really wanted to go down that route with something like Chuchi. So it does give you a couple of options if you want to play around with it. One of the normal summon engines that we're going to put right in the middle here, and it's not technically a normal summon engine, but it kind of will take away that ability or the effectiveness of a normal summon, and that is of course Lava Golem. Now the reason Lava Golem would be in here is because it actually has very nice synergy. It has the ability of being a level 8 as well, or it is a level 8, so it gives you trade-in fodder. It does give you extra extension or extra plays by being able to go second with it as well. So if you go blind second and drop this on an opponent, they might be like, yo, what the hell? On top of that as well, it's not really as big of an issue being able to be dealt with because you can pop it with multiple cards as well. The issue is it is specifically a go second card, so it is a little bit dead for you going first, but it's very easy discard fodder. On top of that, it is a Fiend, so it does have synergy with Gates of the Dark World as well. Very, very nice on that one. It does have weaknesses. If your opponent decides, you know what, I'm not going to put 2 monsters on the board, then this card does become a massive brick, and you start to flood your deck with more higher level monsters than you really, really want to. But I thought it was a card that was worth mentioning because it's something that's either in the side deck or you go, you know what, I'm going to main this and put it in. The best thing about Danger DarkWorlds is that they can utilise a lot of normal summon monsters and not really face repercussions of, okay, this normal summon clashes, or for example, something like Denko Sekka could be used in the deck if you wanted to, and if we moved into a format where it was heavily control, heavy back row, and you were able to just go, cool, draw phase, standby phase, main phase, cool, normal summon Denko, that's it, I can play my game. But what you're really looking for in the deck right now is cards that get you something and replace itself. Now, whether that be a turn ender or whether that be an Omni Negate, it's just something that allows you to move that extra step forward. So, going on to another normal summon engine, we're going to start off with the invoked one on this one. So the invoked engine is very simple. You can make it as large or as small as you really want it to, but I highly advise it being 3 Alistair the Invoker, alongside possibly 2 Meltdowns with a Terraforming if you want to, because that Terraforming can be used for Gates or Meltdown, and then 1 or 2 Invocations. Now, the benefits of a card like this is because straight away, just Alistair on his own can allow you to replenish your hand advantage. So technically from your 5 cards in your starting hand, you don't actually lose anything because you can recycle the Alistair back to the hand, and you're good to rock and roll with a nice Omni Negate on the form of Macabre. The downside is, in a deck like this, it's very rare that you're going to have a spell or a trap in your hand, so that Macabre is probably going to become more of a monster negate than it is anything else. On another side of the benefits, Meltdown will protect Ascension, as it is technically a fusion spell, and then off the back of that as well, Alistair can be used to buff the Grepher fusion monster, because he will allow that to boost that by an extra 1000 attack, which can be very, very good. On top of that, Alistair being a level 4 can help you with rank 4 plays if you want to, and it is a lore target because it is a dark. So if you do get into multiples and you've got a lore, he's one of the best things you can banish, especially if you've already got Invocation in your hand and you take the risk of getting it discarded by a danger, because then you can banish that, bring back the banished Alistair and put the Invocation back to the deck, letting you go the entire loop again. The biggest downside in my opinion, is the fact that it requires so many spaces. Like, you're looking at least a 7 to 8 card engine for the Invoke place. Not to mention then in your extra deck, you're taking up 2 to 3 spots in the form of an Artemis to make sure you've got a light monster, and then 1 or 2 Macabres, just to get you the most benefit and the most use out of all of it. Moving on to the next one, and this one is a massive shout out to Team Flapsky, who also kind of, I had already thought about the Invoked engine, but Team Flapsky was like, you know what, I'm actually going to try this. And I was like, you know, okay, I agree. I'll put a build together, you can let me know what you think, and we'll see how effective it is. So this one is on 100% him, and it is actually Fairytale Luna. So Fairytale Luna, he mentioned it to me today, and I was kind of like, yo, that's a really good shout. And the reason Fairytale Luna is so good is it's a level 4, so that helps you with your rank 4 engines. It does have a very nice form of interruption. Like, it's not so great in the tier element matchup, because it will allow your opponent to send a tier element with the same name from their deck to the graveyard to make sure that it doesn't get bounced. However, if you save the Luna effect for when they put an extra deck monster on the board, you can then trigger that effect to bounce it back, and it's very rare if people will have multiples of it. On top of that as well, Luna will replace itself, so on normal summon it can search out a second copy, meaning that quite like the Invoked engine, and unlike the Trance Archfiend and the Raven, it actually replaces its hand advantage. So you never actually go down from 5 cards, especially when you're trying to activate and resolve dangers at the max potential. You want to have the same hand size, if not bigger. Like, the more cards you have in the hand, the harder it is for them to hit that particular danger, but it's also harder for them to hit the particular target that you want them to hit. So if you want them to be hitting a DarkWorld specifically, you probably want less in your hand, but it kind of goes in swings and roundabouts. On top of that as well, Luna is really good because she doesn't actually take up any more slots. So she takes 3 zones in the main deck and then none in the extra deck. So it actually allows your extra deck to be as exploratory as you possibly want, while also taking away the minimum amounts of spaces from all of these normal summons. If you look at Trance Archfiend and you look at Fabled Raven, and Luna actually works on her own. So if you don't have any other card in your hand, normal summon Luna, effect, search out another Luna, and then you still have the bounce effect as well. So it gives you the base minimum. And one example that Flapsky mentioned was something under D-Shifter, and obviously like Baguska as well. Like, if you're able to get a Baguska under D-Shifter and a Luna, you're just adding extra to it, and it gives you 2 forms of ways of dealing with your opponent. Obviously the idea is that Luna will be negated under Baguska, but you can then use Luna to go into Baguska, and she's replaced herself ready for when that D-Shifter runs out. You normal summon her again, you deck fin 1 more card, and you're good to go. Moving on to the last normal summon engine. Now this is one that's featured in pretty much all of my profiles that I have done, give or take a few, and that is the Tour Guide package. Now the Tour Guide package consists of 3 Tour Guides, 1 Sangan, and a Neko Main King. A lot of people still play the Neko Main King, even though they don't play the Tour Guide engine. But the reason I play the Tour Guide engine is for the exact fact that you have so much free space regarding the normal summon in a Danger DarkWorld deck that you actually don't mind playing free Tour Guide, because not only could she in theory special summon Brow from the deck and then bounce it back to start getting your Greffa and Rainbow back from the graveyard, but she can also go into the Sangan, which allows you to go into a Link 2, and that will then allow you to get a Neko Main King, meaning you've replaced the Tour Guide that you started off your hand with, and you still maintained your hand advantage. Obviously, the downside of doing that so early is you don't really want to be discarding the Neko Main King. On the flip side, the Neko Main King is so good that it just ends your opponent's turn, and you're pretty much going to win the second you activate that Neko Main King. If they can't negate it and it moves to their end phase and it leaves their turn, unless they've got a lot to play through, and the chances are, if they don't know you've got that Neko Main King, or they don't know what it does, ending their turn straight away, then and there, means you're going to OTK and win the next turn. So it's so incredibly powerful. However, it means you are running technically at least one Garnet in the form of Sangan, but you could normal summon the Sangan, link it off of another monster, and still get the same outcome. Multiple Tour Guides in your hand absolutely suck, unless you've got something like an Allure of Darkness, or you're just constantly resolving dangers, and you're like, yeah, cool, discard Tour Guide. Again, Tour Guide isn't one that you want to be discarded, you'd rather it discard a danger, but it is just one of them free fodders at a certain point once it's been used, quite like the Invoke engine as well. And that's pretty much it. So when you kind of break it all down, I would say the Fabled Raven is spiciest because it does unlock synchro plays. And being a light can have some future implications for the deck should it start to take different angles and turns. The downside is, quite like Trance Archfiend, it cannot operate on its own. What I mean by that is it does need multiple cards in the hand in order to resolve, or at least one more card in order to activate, resolve, and then continue your plays. I do also feel that they have been power cracked. However, on the bright side, they do only require 3 slots at max, because then everything else just can be whatever you want. I feel that the Fabled Archfiend would adapt your extra deck a little bit more than the Trance Archfiend, but it's just to show you the 2 options that you've got there. Moving back onto the Invoked engine, I think the biggest issue with this is that it takes up so much main deck space, and then it takes up a couple of decent spots in the extra deck. It's kind of one of the ones where, yes, the normal summon of all of them is probably the single strongest one, because getting that monster protection means that you don't need to fear Nibiru at all that early on. And then the Meltdown is just a little added cherry on the top for Ascension. The chances are you've probably already gone to Gate of the Dark World anyway, so it's not going to stay on the board for too long. Also, Kiyomine Invocation can be used to fusion summon into the Greffa fusion, but it's not going to be as effective as Ascension, because Ascension lets you discard, banish, and you name it. Then you compare probably what on my 2, I like the Invoked engine, but then my 2 ones that I'm highly excited to actually use, and then the one that I've used the most is the Tour Guide engine and the Luna engine. Now, the Tour Guide engine doesn't actually need anything extra from the extra deck. However, quite a lot of you actually expressed the same feeling that I've had with the Tour Guide engine, and when I've used it, yes, it either gets stopped, which is absolutely fine because then I'm able to play freely, or I'm seeing the Sangan way too much, or I'm already opening up the Neko Main King, and I'm like, yo, why am I seeing my 1-ofs instead of my 3-of, which is what I want, and then when I'm playing the Law, I'm drawing into multiple Tour Guides, and I'm like, this is useless, I'd rather draw into a danger, what is going on? In an ideal world, you probably just want to be able to go, right, okay, cool, Tour Guide, activate, Tour Guide, Sangan, link off, get the Neko Main King later on in the turn, after I've already resolved the rest of my hand, let's go. Sadly, that is not the case. However, the Luna is actually a very exciting concept, and I can't wait to see what Flapsky kind of comes up with it and see how it does. And I'm actually looking forward to building a version involved in the Luna, because I feel that not only does it reduce your deck space, and it'll probably cut the deck down to like a 42 to 43 card deck. If I wanted to bump it back out to 45, I could add some more cards in there. But just being able to have a normal summon monster, so like just imagine going, okay, special summon Fenrir, Fenrir replaces itself. Normal summon Luna, Luna replaces itself. Straight away, I've got 2 monsters on the board that have replaced themselves and have incredibly powerful effects, being a bounce, which can be more dangerous for an opponent than actually allowing their card to be destroyed, and a banish face down, meaning that it is very difficult for them to recycle. On the back of that, not only have I got those 2 monsters on the board for free, I've got a full hand of 5 that I don't mind discarding any of those cards, so if I resolve a danger, any of the remaining 4 cards, I don't mind being discarded because it gives me a free danger and a draw. Obviously, if I discard the Luna or I discard the Fenrir, again, that's even better because I'm able to continue to make my plays until I eventually hit a Dark World monster. Should my opponent clear my board again, I can also go Fenrir, Luna. Let's go again, double the interruption from 2 cards, replace my hand advantage, and it's just very, very good in order to keep that circulation going. So, my personal preference of what I'm using right now is the Tour Guide, because the Neko Main King end of turn is too powerful. The one I'm excited to be playing around with the most has been Invoked, because it's very interesting to get the Macabre on board, protect my board going forward and not really worry about it. And if you wanted to, you hold back an Ascension or a Gate or a Terraforming, and then you're protected from spells and monsters as well. And then the one that I'm excited to kind of put together the most to see what happens with the reduced deck size is going to be the Luna as well, and just how interruptive it can be and effective it can be in matchups. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video informative and given you a breakdown of all the normal summons. If I have missed any of the normal summons that you would advise or any normal summons that you have questions about, please by all means put them in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to look at them, answer them, and heck, even update a profile involving some of them if I feel that they topple or can provide more to the deck than the rest. I absolutely love this deck right now. I'm having so much fun putting the decks together for you, the test stands and everything. So if you guys want to keep seeing that content, you've got to keep smashing that like button and keep viewing the videos. And by doing so, I will be more than inclined to do them for you. But as absolutely always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, the whole 9 yards. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe. And of course, happy dueling.